Pope Francis endorses same-sex marriage, early voting has record-breaking numbers, and snowfall in October. This is OU Nightly. Hello, thanks for joining us on OU Nightly. I'm Katie Arata.
And I'm Taylor Todd. We begin with the continued rise in COVID cases and hospitalizations in Oklahoma. The Oklahoma State Health Department reports just over 1,300 new COVID cases today. That brings the total number of active COVID cases to over 14,000. There are 19 new COVID deaths reported for a total of 1,210 COVID deaths in Oklahoma. The city of Norman has 43 new cases today for a total of 454 active cases in the city. Overall, there are currently 870 Oklahomans in the hospital due to COVID. State Health Department officials say this is one of the highest numbers of Oklahoman hospitalizations since the pandemic began in March.
The number of Oklahomans hospitalized with COVID has grown for the past several days, and that's why Governor Kevin Stitt held a press conference with other state officials to address how the state plans to handle the situation. OU Nightly's Kelsey Hovanetz has details.
An uptick in hospitalizations due to COVID-19 had many Oklahomans worried about a second wave of the virus. Governor Kevin Stitt held a press conference yesterday announcing an updated plan for hospitals in the state. State health officials updated the surge plan to include 4 tiers with different procedures based on what % of the people in the hospital are COVID patients. The tiers will be tracked by region, however, the information on what tier each region is currently at is not public. Despite the circumstances of the conference, Stitt's tone remained controlled and positive.
I want you to know we have the hospital beds, we have the capacity, we have the workers available to take care of COVID and non-COVID patients across the state of Oklahoma.
Stitt emphasized that the pandemic is far from over and that there are practical things that Oklahomans can be doing to manage the spread.
We need to continue to take this very seriously. We need everyone to watch their distance, to wash their hands, wear a mask when they're around others.
Kelsey Hovanetz, OU Nightly.
A reminder that health experts advise everyone to wear a mask when they're around people they don't live with, wash your hands frequently, and maintain a distance of at least 6 feet from other people.
The consistently high numbers of COVID cases in Oklahoma is one of the reasons OU will move to all online classes after the Thanksgiving break. Students living in university housing have the option to accept a room and board credit if they do not return to their dorms until the spring semester starts in January. OU Nightly's Madissen Lewis is live with the story. Madissen.
Thanksgiving break is just over a month away, and many students are making plans to travel home for the holidays. However, with many OU students living in dorms and such, they will have to make a difficult decision because OU has recently announced that they will have an option to opt in or out of housing over the break.
Unprecedented times call for unprecedented measures. OU Housing and Food is offering an incentive for residents who choose to stay home in the weeks following Thanksgiving and leading into winter break. For some residents, this choice seems like a no-brainer.
I think there's only like 2.5 or maybe 3 weeks in between Thanksgiving break and winter break. So, I mean, it's not like we're really losing that much time just because we're not really allowed to do much. And for me, I know with like sorority stuff and OU Dance Marathon, like most of that stuff is already on Zoom anyways. So I come home quite frequently.
Earlier this month, housing residents received an email from Assistant Dean of Students and Executive Director of Housing and Residence Life, Sharonda Macklin, explaining that OU housing residents who choose to stay off campus for winter break can receive credit for their housing and meal plans as long as they fill out the required forms and schedule a checkout time by November 13th.
I plan on just going home and staying home. I wish, like, obviously this wasn't the situation, but I just don't really see a point in like staying if it's all online anyway.
OU Housing and Food Services will be open for the remainder of the fall semester and through winter break. For more information and updates on the situation, visit ou.edu/housing and food. For now, we're live in front of Headington College. Madissen Lewis, OU Nightly.
Thanks, Madissen. And a big day in court for some major drug manufacturers in the United States. Sydney Baulier has that story and the rest of today's headlines from around the world. Sydney.
The maker of oxycodone will plead guilty to conspiracy and fraud charges and pay an $8 billion settlement. Authorities say Purdue Pharma helped the opioid crisis in the country. The estimated $8.3 billion global settlement that the Justice Department released contains 3 felony guilty pleas. However, no part of the settlement includes direct charges at specific individuals within the company, but justice officials said that those separate investigations are ongoing. This settlement will place Purdue Pharma under operation as a government-controlled public trust. And we are barely under the 2-week marker until the presidential election, and there have already been record-breaking numbers at the polls. North Carolina, Michigan, and Texas are among states already recording 40% of their overall 2016 voter turnout. According to USA Today, as of this afternoon, more than 41 people have voted early, which is more than 6 times the amount of votes around this time in 2016. Now, more people are expected to vote early this election with the ongoing coronavirus pandemic. And in a new documentary released today at the Rome Film Festival, Pope Francis pushes for legislation to protect same-sex couples. The Catholic News Agency reports that Pope Francis has declared his support for same-sex civil unions for the first time during his tenure as pontiff. He made the declaration in the short film. The Pope said that homosexual people have the right to be in a family. They're children of God and have a right to a family. The Archbishop of Buenos Aires, Francis, also endorsed same-sex civil unions over same-sex marriage when Argentina was discussing legalizing same-sex marriages. Katie and Taylor, back to you.
Thanks, Sydney. COVID-19 has caused many to move their efforts online, including one event center here in Norman. Amongst Friends is a center in Norman for adults with disabilities. On a typical day pre-COVID, the center is a place for members to come, play games, volunteer, cook, and participate in other group activities. Since April, the center has been hosting its events online. The director says that this time has brought a kind of new awareness.
Even people who do not necessarily understand or relate to like the day-to-day of knowing somebody or living with somebody with a disability, I think now our mission statement about like breaking the cycle of isolation, we all can have that profound personal touch to that now because we're all kind of in the same things.
The staff is hopeful that they can reopen the center at the start of 2021, but will continue its events virtually for members that enjoy them.
And Katie, just when we thought the warm weather was a thing of the past, it's warming up again outside.
Megan Gold has a first look at our forecast.
That's right, guys. Over the last couple of days, we've seen those warmer temperatures, and they'll stick with us through the next couple of days. But more important than those warm temperatures is Hurricane Epsilon just upgraded to a Category 3 storm here in the last little bit, and it's set to impact Bermuda. They're under a tropical storm warning, and right now here's a look a little closer to home with those current temperatures. We're in the 80s, but coming up, I'll talk about the cold front that will drop those temperatures and maybe bring us some snow. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Megan. A Norman church is partnering with farmers to give back in these troubling times. How the church is utilizing food that would otherwise be wasted when OU Nightly continues.
Plus, an early winter for some parts of the country. We'll tell you more when the show returns.
A Norman church is partnering with Go Fresh and the U.S. Department of Agriculture to give back to the community in these troubling times. Trinity Baptist Church is handing out free dairy and produce to the community through a program called Farmers to Families Food Box. The church plans to hand out 1,500 boxes of food, including milk, butter, and fruit and vegetables to Norman families in need. This event is a part of the USDA's Families First Coronavirus Response Act and is not based on financial aid. The program pay farmers for the fresh goods that might not be sold due to the long pandemic-induced economic slump. Trinity Baptist Church will be distributing these 30-pound boxes at their church from 5 to 8 this evening. And we'll be right back after this break.
From the Wyoming borders to the mountains west of the Evergreen, the National Forest is now closed due to the historic wildfires. Nirali's Jayswal has the latest updates.
There are 3 major fires within the cluster, including the Cameron Peak and Calwood fire. The National Forest has seen a vast increase in outdoor recreation because of the pandemic. The decision to close the forest came on Tuesday to try to limit any more fires, especially as warm wind and dry weather continues. The closure will be enforced each day, but significant moisture is needed to change the conditions.
And what we need is enough snow and enough moisture to really change those small, fine fuels.
The forest is asking for the public's help to obey the order. Severe flooding in Vietnam has been a major destruction to the community. For over a week now, heavy rains have overpowered 6 provinces, affecting more than 260,000 homes. According to state media, at least 106 people have died and 27 are still missing. Around 18,000 acres of crops have been damaged and hundreds of thousands of our farm animals have died or been swept away. Vietnam Red Cross are working to provide the essentials to those affected. The people in Minnesota were not ready for the record-breaking snowfall in October. For most of them, it was a surprise. Store owners and people running errands stopped to just stand outside and take in the beauty of the snow coming down. The city has already strung up lights outside and the pumpkins are snow-dusted, making it feel like a true winter wonderland in October. Although many people were not prepared for the early snow, some people had to cancel meetings and other people were left clearing snow off their cars with their hands. For many, the first snow was a day to be thankful for working from home. Despite the snowfall, a Minnesota farmer has grown a Tiger King pumpkin, weighing in at 2,350 pounds just in time for Halloween. Back to you guys at the desk.
And Megan Gold's going to give us a first look at our forecast. Megan.
Guys, if you've been outside today, you've noticed that temperatures are pretty warm for fall, and that's not going to be the case as we finish out the week. But first, let's take a look out of our Oklahoma City skyline cam. We have a couple clouds in the area, but they are starting to move out, and temperatures right now in the low 80s, but plenty of sunshine. Now, we do have that southerly wind, which is helping keep it feeling pretty humid outside, but like I said, that won't be the case thanks to this upper level air mass that's going to dip to the south and bring in all of that cooler air. By the time we get to Friday morning, waking up, those temperatures could be as chilly as 30 degrees cooler than what we've been seeing this week, and that'll be the case as we go throughout the next couple of days. That first cold front will move through, and then another cold front on Monday, this time reaching as far south as Houston. So one of the stronger masses that we've seen over the last couple of weeks, and we will see some rain associated with this front. You can see in the Texas Panhandle, we do have some showers and thunderstorms beginning to form into Thursday afternoon and into Friday, and we could see some of those scattered showers and thunderstorms here in Norman, but by the time we get to Friday evening, those will clear out for if you have any Friday evening plans. Now, what we will expect with that front is going to be those winds. You can see also those temperatures beginning to dip significantly. We'll see that front on top of us here in Norman, and then look at this, Idabel 66 degrees, Guyman 29. So a very big difference thanks to that cold front. We'll see those temperatures drop, and then that second cold front, here it is, Sunday morning, and those temperatures will drop by Monday, and those wind speeds are really what we're going to be watching. But overnight tonight, lows will be in the 60s, pretty average for this time of year, but actually a little bit above average. But then as we go throughout tomorrow, by the time you wake up, 67 degrees, we will see those winds, but temperatures, another warm day for us tomorrow across the area, seeing lots of 80s, but by the time that cold front moves through Friday, almost 30 degrees cooler with that chance for those showers on Friday morning. And then those cooler temperatures will stick with us again by the time we get to Monday with that cold front moving through again and seeing those temperatures drop once more. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Megan. Edmond Pride is celebrating their final week of virtual events for LGBTQ+ History Month. The final 4 meetings this week include a roundtable discussion about mental health and drag night. Even though COVID-19 has taken away their in-person celebrations, Edmond Pride is proud to offer them virtually. Norman Pride unfortunately has canceled their events for the year. Edmond Pride is hosting these meetings live on their Facebook page.
A 4-star wide receiver from Oklahoma will be announcing his commitment this weekend.
Kolby Terrell has that story and more in sports.
That four-star receiver might just be coming to OU, and if he does, he's going to be seeing a little more of Bevo every year. Up next is sports. Welcome back to OU Nightly. I'm Kolby Terrell, and it's time for sports. The Sooners are coming off a bye week to face TCU, and John Barry is getting us ready for that matchup.
Spencer Rattler and the Oklahoma Sooners have had 2 weeks to prepare for TCU and Gary Patterson. Spencer Rattler has felt the pressure, but he loves his road games.
I love playing on the road. It's been fun, but we got a good team on the road this week down in at TCU, and we're preparing for that one, and that should be a fun one.
Sooner fans had to be concerned watching their starting quarterback get benched against Texas. Last week during the bye week, Lincoln Riley spoke and defended this coaching move.
We'd had a couple of bad plays in a row, and I thought it was the right thing to try to calm Spencer down. And Tanner had practiced well and has experience, and I have a lot of confidence in him. So it made a lot of sense at the time, and I do believe it was the right thing to do.
Both TCU and Oklahoma's losses come from the same 2 teams, Iowa State and Kansas State. Kickoff is this Saturday at 11 a.m. in Fort Worth, Texas. I'm John Barry, OU Nightly Sports.
Talon Shetron, a junior out of Edmond Santa Fe High School, will be pledging his allegiance to a certain college this Saturday, the 24th. Many experts predict the wide receiver will be a senior, but he has scholarship offers from multiple schools, including Oklahoma State. Sooner basketball will now be gearing up to play Bama in the SEC Big 12 Challenge. The Sooners hold a 5-3 lead on the series, with their last loss coming in Tuscaloosa in 2018. Their matchup is set for Saturday, January 30th at the Lloyd Noble Center. And the World Series is underway at Globe Life Field without the Rangers. The Dodgers' Cody Bellinger homered and drove in a pair of runs in Game 1 against the Rays last night. Meanwhile, Clayton Kershaw silenced his postseason critics with a 6-inning, 2-hit, 1-run performance. LA wins 8-3 and goes up 1-0 in the series. Game 2 is tomorrow night. And yesterday, we gave you the famous Rufus Brutus showdown. And tonight, we have another mascot matchup. Who could forget Bevo charging down the Georgia Bulldog before their previous bowl match? Photographer Nick Wagner is making sure Bevo's handlers don't forget anytime soon. He's suing them for negligence that caused permanent injury over medical bills that cost more than $24,000. And finally, it's Wine Wednesday, and that means it's time for Whiner of the Week. This week's whiners are the 2-4 Dallas Cowboys. After getting spanked by former Sooner Kyler Murray and the Cards, the players are blaming it on the coaching staff, saying that they just don't seem prepared. But I'm not sure what a bunch of players that haven't even sniffed a Super Bowl are talking about their coach with a ring for. Instead of blaming it on their coaches, maybe they'll learn to tackle. But in the meantime, Cowboys fans better keep drinking. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Kolby. Coming up, a thief in the night you wouldn't quite expect.
We have more on unusual culprits when we return.
I'm Deyton Deller at the OU Nightly Update Desk. A state official announced today that at least 10 bodies have been found in the Tulsa cemetery as investigators search for remains of victims from the 1921 Tulsa Race Massacre. An Oklahoma State archaeologist stated that 10 coffins were discovered with what is presumed to be one person in each. The search started Monday and is the second search this year after an unsuccessful attempt ended in July.
Now, these are not your typical bank robbing bandits. 2 raccoons were caught breaking into a California bank.
Authorities say the pair climbed a tree and came in through the ductwork and fell through the ceiling. Once inside, the raccoon caused havoc while officers chased them down for 10 minutes, but not before they got what they were looking for, a box of almond cookies. Humane Society officials were able to get the raccoons out safely.
Megan Gold is here to give us a final look at our 7-day forecast. Megan?
Guys, if you're anything like me and you're ready for that fall weather, well, I have good news for you. We have a roller coaster of weather events headed our way over the next couple of days. Beginning on Friday, you can see this 30-degree temperature difference and even a chance for rain, which we so desperately need. Will be cloudy on Friday, but then we will warm back up just a little bit for Saturday and Sunday. Plenty of sunshine, but again, those rain chances will be back on Sunday and Monday. And Monday, another cold front will move through, and it will be strong as well, but that one on Friday is the one that's really going to knock down those temperatures. You'll definitely want to expect some wind over the next couple of days as well. Back to you guys at the desk.
And thanks for tuning in to this Wednesday edition of OU Nightly, brought to you by the Gaylord College of Journalism and Mass Communication at the University of Oklahoma.
We have the latest every weekday live at 4:30. Have a great evening.
You're good. I was literally just smiling at my paper.